Welcome to this week's video, which is part 3. And I could have also called it the final stage. And that's always very tricky. But here they are, the two 8x8 canvases, the gallery canvases. And as you can see, and as I show you in my video, I love to go past the edge, giving more real estate to the work, so they're more independent of a frame. And in this video, though, I add a third color, and I still consider it a simple palette, and it just made the blues just pop. So stay tuned if you are interested in learning about to go deeper in this intuitive art process. Don't forget that I have a 5-day free course that gets you started with your art journaling practice, which I use back and forth, and it is a great way to discover your own voice, your own marks, as we use a lot of the mark making process in that. And I'll just show these to you again. Here they are. So let's get going with part 3. And so as you can see, I'm using a glaze with Mars Black after deciding to bring in that third color. And it was the piece of collage on the left-hand painting with sort of like the map, and it is a wonderful complementary color, and it is nickel azo gold. It's so great because it's transparent. And I must make a note in my self-reflection notes, and if you want to get a self-reflection PDF and my art prompts, the link is in the comments section below the video. So pushing back, there's veiling, but mostly I use glazing to push back a layer. I like the shape, or to adjust the contrast, of course. So scoring through with the end of my brush, I really find that advantageous because it reveals a little bit of what was under the previous layer. And no matter what kind of mark, it's not really interfering with any kind of composition that might be developing intuitively. And I'll stick to that because I don't plan ahead. I let things happen. And we're going to get into some composition, very simple composition and color exploration. And if you don't mind, please leave a comment below the video letting me know what exactly in these areas gets you stuck, or that is great to share with our community, with this channel. So if it gets you stuck, or if you've gotten unstuck, please share, because I love learning from other artists, and I will respond to your comment. So that stronger black is working. Now, of course, sometimes I will just adjust that, and notice I'm going diagonally in the opposite corner with the black to balance it off. But I didn't want to cover that wonderful piece of collage, so I lifted it, and of course it spread, and then I just used my damp cloth to clean up that edge. So I'm playing with soft edges, torn edges, contrasting with clean edges. I've not used tape with blocking out different areas, and that's where I'm headed. And I really think the next bunch of work after we do, I say we because I'm including you in all of this in my journey, exploring, going back to the art journal and now exploring these three colors and to see, okay, what maybe is another blue that I could use instead or add, but still trying to keep the colors 3 or 4 because you can do so much with them. And I want to explore those combinations first before bringing in another one, because the cohesiveness just adds to the simplicity and just the overall feeling of a piece. So as you can see, I'm rounding that off. I didn't want it too much to look like a hill, because if you haven't heard me before, I come from a landscape, being a landscape artist and watercolor and then acrylic, but I know some of these sections in this work, in these two paintings, they're recognizable, but they're not, they're just, it's still mixed media. It's still something to get you thinking. And I love the overall simple grid composition that happened with these two. Now, as I am working through some of these grids, I'll say sections of the grids, overall grid, I'm getting mostly happy with what's going on, what's developing, and then I like to just start midway and put a gloss medium on them. And I don't think I really needed to go all the way to the sides. Notice the sides are now interesting. And I don't always necessarily, oh, there I go. I did end up, if you didn't check out last week's video, check it out. Remember I added that neutral, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to make it the same blue to wrap around, but I do end up doing that. Cool. And then sometimes I'll do a stenciling in that area that isn't the same as the front, or I'll add a piece of collage, just extending that feeling. Oh, I'm really liking it. I'm glad I did put the blue wrapped right around the edge. So now I let those dry. Let it rest. And then when I'm coming into my studio or if something catches my eye, that's what I deal with. And it was the yellow oxide mixed with the neutral. And then I'm just toning down a little bit of the strength of that yellow, which is interesting. And I could have left some of that, playing with the different strength of color. And now I'm really toning down, but I'm picking up that line, that vertical edge that's coming down from the top on the right. And of course, you can see a part of I am. That's my, just that stream writing. And that's going to be a big part of my course that I'm developing. I've not made a waiting list yet. I just want to get more of the course developed. And I know it's a slow process with me, but being a full-time teacher and all of that, I'm just can only go the pace that I'm going. But in the future, that will change. So I will create a waiting list. If you are really interested in any upcoming courses, don't forget to hop on my newsletter, which is twice a month. And then I think I am going to be increasing that very soon. But you get a newsletter twice a month that tells about what I'm thinking. A lot of it's about intuition and my whole thing with that, and I just love it. So you can also try the 5-day free course. So don't forget to give that a try, because this will really set you up into this practice where you can discover so much about your own self, your art, as it reflects I'm really loving these multi-layered collage papers on old texts, and I think I'm going to do a video about I have got some really interesting old texts that I've not even gotten into yet. So stay tuned. And those are just dashes and with a spatter, and then with pastel, no, the white China marker, I believe, and I just made a little mark in each dash. Noticing I'm using the same colors here, working into this area of the simple grid composition. So it's adding interest, it's adding visual texture, shape, pattern. Not so much shape maybe, but more pattern. See, it tore and I want that to go all the way around. Even though I did put black under there, I'm changing it. Love it. And it's just, the edges are tricky. So needing a lot more of that gloss medium. And when you compare how I started, which was very loose, with the water-soluble graphite, medium, etc. And then I ended up getting more collage, which I love. I love these two pieces, but my goal is to use, and I've mentioned it a few times, is to use more paint than collage. I want the collage to be maybe an image or shapes sort of floating in an area or something like that, because I've got other paintings behind me where I'm sitting right now at my computer, and I love parts of them, and those parts really need to become the whole entire focus. But I really like how these turned out, and it does, see, we didn't need to go that far over with these shapes or pattern, if you want to call it that. And it does look good with it left. And that is some old map from encyclopedias. So I'm thinking, no, So what's bugging me here is it's in the middle. It looks like it's the eye is staying in there and it's not coming out. There's no movement of getting the eye to come out of there. What do you think? I love this because a lot of my subscribers say, oh no, don't do that. And then I end up doing it, and it turns out that I was right. So I'm blocking off pieces, just saying, okay, is it going to go vertical? Do I need just one more layer to bring that down? And this is the stencil, which is emulating script, which I really love. Now, blue, black, I know black wouldn't have done it. But in the end, I think this was a good choice. I don't think it was no, of course it's not the only choice. But that brings the eye down. And I chose warm rather than cool. Maybe it was because of the ratio. I could have went with a light blue. And notice I added just a little bit lighter just to change the, that's a lot stronger. And I end up really liking that. And it narrows it down. All right. So now I thought, okay, I really want some numbers on this work. So as you can see, the larger 5, that sat overnight. And that's what I do sometimes. If I'm not sure, needs to rest, of course, thoroughly dry before that next stage. But of course, the 5, it just fits in there so nicely, but then that's the only thing you see. It's the only thing, it's distracting. I wanted it as in an add-on, something else to think about. I didn't want the number 5 to be the focal point. So let's just see what happens. These are the paper number stencils, which are okay, but they tear very easily. I've since bought even a larger set. See, it's a cool 5. It's great, but it's too overpowering in scale. And then, okay, and that's why, as I said, I put on a gloss medium layer before I go further with more layers, so it's very easily wiped off. So now I'm thinking about the 5 just in where that orange is, but I'm having a break because I'm thinking about it. Now I love this gold, which is sort of emulates that gold leaf, but this is just some gold tissue paper, which is so fun, and it really sticks to the fingers when you have gloss medium on it. And I just love to put it in where it's warm, of course. The yellow oxides, yellow ochre. See, and it looks good there. So how is your intuitive art journaling practice going? Those of you who have taken the course, hopefully you've gone through all the 5 days and have started working on your marks, your patterns, your colors, and just start building just a library of what you like, and really getting that exploration going in your art journal, because it's the safest place to do it. And I'm just finally taking mine to canvas, to larger papers, and all those mini series that I did, the 16. I still love those, and they're looser than these two. So, but still my style is showing, is coming through. So I'm so close, but I still have a ways to go because I have something, a feeling that I'm looking for. So what I use there is just a little stamp. These are ordered from Amazon, and I really need to get my Amazon affiliate links going now that I'm ordering from them a lot more, as I live far away from any art store. But that's not the only reason. It's just really good. And I do use Temu for some stencils, so that's coming up. Oh, and that's where the watery, you see the watery lines, which was necessary in these 2 paintings. There's a, yeah, so there's a thing with blue and the water, and you can see the waves and just different things that are sort of subliminal in a way. Well, maybe not so subliminal, but I really love it for my collage. So I couldn't make up my mind if I like that or not, but in the end I do use the smaller one, and I do use that stamp in that location. I'm thinking it needs something else that's brighter, but it doesn't, because it's a lovely, warm color. And yeah, so I'm thinking, no. Oh, and sorry about the bounce there. I have a new camera set up. This is my new area where I'm working on canvases versus my art journaling table, which is behind me. And in this video, this section that I'm working on isn't as great as I thought. So I show you in the end. So stick with me if hopefully you're still with me. This is just a 35-minute video. It's about a half an hour. I don't really like to go any longer than that, at least in the future. And I show you how I deal with a tricky area. And that little square in the middle, which is right almost in the middle of this painting, just needed to go. We needed something else. I guess because it's just 4, it didn't continue past the edges or something. It was very static. So we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so yes. So I wanted some more luminosity or light. So I just did a little row of dots, and I do them, no, I did them the same. I don't know if they turn out. It's sort of like an eclipse, or it's sort of a visual representation of great stretches, I guess, of time, existence, the cosmos, the much bigger question. And so I'm using a gel pen there, but knowing in the future, it does show up a bit more, but it's tricky on gloss medium, of course. Now, if I used a matte medium, it would probably take a bit more, but then I just wanted that a little bit more light. And then I'm just cleaning up those edges. Okay, that's looking much better. Okay, so I decide to put that away because it's just not working on that particular surface. And what kinds of pens do you use? Uniball, my gold. Oh, so nice. I should probably just get a whole set of Uniball pens because I just love them. I also really need to get the Posco, the giant black ones. Drew Steinbrecher, he uses those a lot. And I just love how he uses them. Of course, we can all use them in our own way. But just get, contrasting so well with a fine line, the great big thick line. And of course, you can just use a brush. So just adding some text here, or an orange piece of collage that just happens to be on text, and I like that. Making the sides a little more interesting. Cleaning up those edges definitely made a difference. More defined. And I love gold on a black background. And I won't do the whole thing there, but I'm really liking how that turned out in the end. So I'm just going for something different, something visual to catch your eye. I end up putting, yes, just subtle dots, the cosmos, stars, or whatever. I really like that. And I love how the black rhombuses, still the same value, but they're way in the forefront. But they push all that back. It's just really cool. Yes, so it's almost time. So here I go. So I thought, okay, that whole area is bugging me, but the black circles were not the answer, as it's just not working. And I love that I can rub that off because, so then I decide to, let's just add a little bit of a glaze. There we go. To push it back. It's still annoying. And it's so funny when you get hung up on one little area. It really stops you from moving forward. Liking the nickel azo glaze over the yellow oxide there. So I am oh yes, just a subtle difference with that little piece of collage. A black and white piece would have looked good there too. Oh, gold. This is great. So it just needs something. And no, yeah, that was a good choice. I don't like to put contrasting colors. It's just too busy. I like to put a similar hue, change the value, light or dark. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So just finishing up some details here, continuing past the edge. Yes. So I wanted something more on this blue area. So just through trial and error, nope, it's not working. So I realized that no, a piece of a stencil, that script stencil, which I can repeat but in a different way with just a turquoise, which is just slightly darker than the blue that's there. And it was fairly easy to do, to hold down, as I just needed a little bit, but I'm just trying to hold it even enough so it's not bouncing. There we go. Oh, yes. And then I decide, yes, let's go around that other edge as well. So you have a lot of repetition. So I'm simplifying. I've got my black and white, black squares on white, white on black, and the dashes on the neutral. And here I decided, no, let's not do it again. Let's not overdo it. Let's do something else. So I'm using my corrugated cardboard, and it's okay. Sometimes it can be too subtle, but totally fine. I end up putting a piece of collage on that side, probably the water one that's blue that's on the left there. And you can see the little piece down below in the lower left-hand corner that I decide to use. So I decided to change that up, even though it continues across. Noticing I'm picking up that line, that horizontal, vertical line, and now the eye is coming down. And then I'm lessening the contrast there, adding some blue, and I'm really loving that feeling. Adding a little blue there, and that one just because there was too much yellow, and that's much better. Okay, so now we are on the final stages. These two have sat in my studio for a couple of days now and waiting for the final decisions on the edges, the marks, and this is where I deal with that area, the little square. So as you can see above, I had, well, let's just choose trial and error. I love the mapping, but there's already mapping on the left. Even though I did plan, that would just be too much. Then there's some writing. This would have been okay, but it was just such a strange one. Then it came down to the two. At first I thought it was the black and white, and it didn't do it. But what really worked was the emphasis with the water collage. So I put it in here, and of course I end up glazing it the same as the rectangular piece above it. And it just, so what it's doing is emphasizing whatever message I'm trying to get or feeling that I'm trying to get across with water, the element of water in these two pieces, with blue, the wavy lines. And this is just the turquoise, Liquitex turquoise, on copy printing paper with my jelly printer. That's it. And then I'm noticing the glazing above had a little more black, or had some black into it. As you can see how this is more pure, but I like that it's different. So I left it. And look at that. Oh, now they relate. So interesting. When you're working with two paintings, trying to echo what's going on without copying, you know? So of course so I was just sort of playing around with the opacity, and then I noticed when I was wiping, there's that black line that didn't get quite covered up with the yellow oxide or the yellow piece of collage on the right. So I'm tearing a little piece of gold and then wondering, oh, will this show up too much? And of course it does. So it's just no, not gonna work. Too much. Now I could have just grabbed some yellow oxide paint with the neutral, mixed it up quickly, and just did that little edge. But what was quick and easy coming up is just using my gold pen and just putting enough in there so the eye doesn't stay, you don't notice that black mark. So I just rubbed it a little bit, just enough. And then I noticed the dots there got rubbed off, so I'm just putting them in clearer again, another layer of gold pen, echoing some marks. So now when you get to this state, you know you're at the end. And of course I knew I was, except I just wanted some black dots. Now maybe not dots, maybe horizontal lines would have worked. But as you know, I love my dots. So I'm just doing 4 rows. And do I wrap it around? I'm not sure. Oh, there we go with the dots. That's okay. Might have been overdoing it, but after it sits, I'll know. And right there, even though it's off camera, I'm just putting in the other rows. You can see by the edge. And I say, okay, no, that's enough. And yes, that edge there just was a little too bright. Now it's even. A little blue got down in the black and white area, but that's okay. So I'm really loving how these turned out. The last little piece. So that square, those choices, this is from an old text, and I will be showing some of my old texts and some great finds from my used bookstore that I love to visit, but I haven't in a while because I just have too many things. And notice when you put that medium on it, it just turns it so translucent. I just love it. So I'm checking that painting just to see if there's anything else that I might need on the edges. Some gold line in there where it was neutral. And then I think I am done. So I hope you enjoyed this series, this 3 video series, part 1, 2, and 3, of how you take your intuitive art journaling practice, your marks, and extend it to other surfaces. So coming up next will be some color exploration, jelly printing, and then we're going to explore some wood panels. So let me know in the comments below what you would like, and I will see you in the next video. Happy creating!